What's up? So, today's going to be a little bit different. Since I was gone for about a year, there were a few things that got past me that I wasn't able to feature because I wasn't producing content. Well, now that I'm producing content again, I thought I might circle back to a few of the things that I liked and think that you might like too. So, without any further ado, let's do this.
So, like I said, there were a lot of interesting things that dropped while I wasn't producing channel content. So, here's just a few things that I haven't weighed in on. There will be more in the coming weeks. Upload. So often, the streaming services will drop something that you don't see coming. You're scrolling and poof, there it is. Such was the case for Upload on Amazon. This comedy series from Greg Daniels tells the story of Nathan Brown, who has had a terrible traffic accident and hastily chooses to have his consciousness uploaded into the virtual world. A digital afterlife, if you will. Upload is clever and funny with a good cast which includes Andy Allo and Robbie Amell. I never thought I would say good cast and Robbie Amell in the same sentence, but this is by far the best thing I've seen him in. In anything. He's really good in this, and Upload is really good. Check it out. The Morning Show. Well, Apple TV is crushing it with their lineup. One of their flag shows is The Morning Show with Jennifer Aniston, Steve Carell, Mark Duplass, Billy Winthrop, and Reese Witherspoon. This show, loosely based on the NBC scandal surrounding Matt Lauer, takes a somewhat humorous, definitely dramatic, and unflattering look into the world behind the scenes of network morning television. It can be a tough watch at times, but if you can make it to the end, it's worth it. Also on Apple TV is the alternative history drama For All Mankind. This show reimagines the space race from its beginnings, starting with one huge exception. The Soviet Union gets to the moon first. The ensemble cast includes Joel Kinnaman and Michael Dorman. The show dramatizes some very interesting suppositions about how things would have unfolded in the American space program if NASA was trailing the Russians in development. Number 3 on Apple TV is Defending Jacob. This makes the list because it gives everyone a chance to be reminded that Captain America, Chris Evans, has got some real acting chops and is not just another pretty face. The show also stars Michelle Dockery and Jaden Martell. Coincidentally, Evans and Martell are both in Knives Out, which is also worth your time, but you don't need me to tell you that. This drama is based on the book of the same name and takes us through the tribulation of a prosecutor's family whose son is accused of murder. And from Apple TV, from producer M. Night Shyamalan, Servant, with Lauren Ambrose, Toby Kebbell, Rupert Grint, and Nell Tiger Free. Just see this one. That's all I can say. I mean, fake baby, dead baby, live dead baby. Just see it. On HBO, The Outsider, based on a story by Stephen King about the tracking of a mysterious serial killer that commences when a local lawman, played by Ben Mendelsohn, investigates a pillar of his community who is suspected of a brutal murder of a child. The cast also includes Cynthia Erivo, Jason Bateman, Patty Considine, and Mare Winningham. It moves slowly, but it is interesting as the mystery unravels and we are drawn more into the supernatural elements of the story. On CBS All Access, there was the first season of Star Trek Picard, which brought back Sir Patrick Stewart in the titular role many years after the events of Star Trek Nemesis, which sees him retired and on the outs with Starfleet, and embroiled in a resurgence of the controversy surrounding synthetic life. The series introduced new characters, of course, but brought back many familiar faces, including Jonathan Frakes, Marina Sirtis, Jerry Ryan, Jonathan Del Arco, and Brent Spiner in a couple of different roles. Those Sung jeans. Wow. I admit the ending of the first season hit me weird, and I found the final resolution strange, to say the least. But I enjoyed most everything else about it. It felt more like Trek than Star Trek Discovery. So I say Picard is worth the watch. Also on CBS All Access were not one but two seasons of the Jordan Peele revival of The Twilight Zone. This Twilight Zone is really cool for two reasons. One, it feels very much like Rod Serling's original anthology series, and yet very much belongs in the 21st century, and it addresses its material with modern-day sensibilities. This show is easy to binge. In theaters was The Hunt. This was a really cool flick. It's a very smart and gory social satire of what happens when a group of elites, liberal elites, led by Hilary Swank's Athena, kidnap and hunt 12 strangers that they consider to be backward, ultra-conservative rednecks. Unfortunately for them, they grab Crystal, played by Betty Gilpin, and she is the wrong Crystal. This Craig Zobel-directed flick was slick and fun. Togo. On Disney Plus was another unexpected gem, Togo. This film, based on a true story, stars Willem Dafoe and Julianne Nicholson and dramatizes the events of 1925 when sled dog trainer and racer Leonard Seppala leads a sled dog team through the frozen wilderness to retrieve a serum to combat a disease outbreak killing children. His lead dog is one aging Togo. As Seppala journeys through the mountains, we are moved by his determination and drive and the raw courage and devotion of his lead dog. We're also touched by the story of how these two became such close friends through a series of flashbacks, and we root for them in their perils, past and present. Erickson Core directs this touching adventure, which features real animals and some breathtaking action, which completely overshadows the more recent Call of the Wild. Though I loved Harrison Ford in that film, I was kind of put off by the animated dog. But Togo is the real deal, and you might need a Kleenex or two by the end of this one. This film has become one of my favorite movies ever. And finally, not that you need me to tell you about this one, Disney Plus set expectations high as it was going to be the home for all things Marvel and all things Star Wars. All things Star Wars meant the original series, The Mandalorian. Set in the time just after Jedi and the fall of Palpatine and the Empire, it follows the story of a devout Mandalorian nicknamed Mando, who strictly adheres to the code of the Mandalorians ever since he was accepted by them when he was rescued as a youth from droids, the same droids that wiped out his entire people. He has grown up to make his living as a very successful bounty hunter. Things get interesting when he accepts a job to deliver a certain cargo and is unable to accept the consequences of that job. So, some stuff gets broke. And this results in Mando's constant traveling companion, codename Baby Yoda. Pedro Pascal, perhaps best known as Oberyn Martell in Game of Thrones and Javier Peña in Narcos, as well as a large number of supporting roles, inhabits the title role destined to forever act from behind a helmet that completely conceals his face, forcing him to use only his voice and body. Pascal is a big reason for the show's success, but far from the only reason. Show creator Jon Favreau deserves most of the credit as the showrunner, as he seems to have rediscovered some of that Star Wars magic in the fringes of this universe. He's also assembled a fantastic team of directors and technicians, including Dave Filoni and Taika Waititi. Disney has thrown massive amounts of money into the show and raised the bar with new technology to give the show a cinema-quality production value. Even Ludwig Göransson's theme kicks butt as it sounds like nothing else in the Star Wars franchise. It couldn't be any less Williams-like. The supporting players have also raised the show's clout. Though best known as Apollo Creed, Greef Karga may be some of Carl Weathers' best work. Nick Nolte as Quill and Giancarlo Esposito as Moff Gideon also make more than notable guest appearances. If that doesn't do it for you, Werner Herzog. Then Taika Waititi also directed, and the lovely, ball you up like a used Kleenex tough Gina Carano as fan favorite shock trooper Cara Dune. Who are we forgetting? Oh, right. With everything that The Mandalorian does right, it just might be Baby Yoda who makes it bulletproof. So far, this show is the only thing that is keeping Star Wars consistently cool. and Season 2 is now up to bat. There will be more titles that I recap over the coming weeks, so just stay tuned.
All right, that's it for today's episode. If you liked what you saw today, please give us a like. Also, click that subscribe button. That way you'll get notified when new content comes out. And leave a comment or just say hi. Thank you for stopping by. Please come back next week when we're guaranteed to have some new content for you. Meanwhile, be good to yourselves, be good to each other. Peace, and we're out. God bless.